Hey everyone, Michelle here with Lumen Massage, and today's guest is Alex from Sacred Oasis, and she's going to be sharing with us all about work culture in the massage therapy industry. So Alex, take it away. Talk to us about a little bit of your backstory, how you got into massage, and what have the work environments, whether they're healthy or whether they're a little bit toxic. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So hello everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Michelle, for inviting me. I love sharing my story because I feel like unfortunately it's a little bit too common
Mm.
and it can discourage people from continuing in the field. And it's just such a beautiful field to be in, being able to help other people. And when you have the passion for that, to feel that discouragement just because of the environment where you work is discouraging. So I've been a massage therapist for 3 years now. And I decided to become a massage therapist because I'd worked in the customer service industry for a while and really got tired of, well, the toxicity of that, but being yelled at for things that I had no control over.
Uh,
And I
I
love
work in customer service
service.
too, by the way.
Oh, good.
I have worked
You
in customer. I
understand.
received my customer service training, which I highly recommend that if you're a massage therapist, please, please, please get some customer service training. Like literally get a job as a customer service representative. As Alex is mentioning, like it is hard because like you are dealing with a lot of people's problems, but it'll translate, like that skill will translate so well
Yeah.
if you choose to either acquire a new clientele, or work at a larger facility or wherever. Like it will never be a bad idea to up your game if you
Yes.
need good customer service. So continue, Alex.
And that's helped me so much owning my own business, having that experience of both the massage therapist and front desk to be able to understand just really full circle the whole business and how it works from my side to the customer side. But I've grown up in family owned businesses, so that gives me a little bit different of a mentality than a lot of people because I'm the one who orders the mop and the broom and the pens and the pencils and the push pins and the stapler. And I see all those costs when I look at that.
Yeah.
Um, but I worked front desk at a massage envy, and I did that right after I decided to be a massage therapist. And I chose that because I wanted to see what it was like day in, day out, and kind of observe what it was like to be a massage therapist, as
Mhm.
well as just talk to other massage therapists. Hey, how long have you done this? How long do you want to do this? Okay, you've done this for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years. How much longer do you plan to do this? How does your body feel? Do you think you can do this for 10 more years? And that was so helpful for me. I ended up in an amazing franchise location. Franchise stores, the quality of the work environment and just the business as a whole really depends on that franchise owner. I know a lot of people, especially massage therapists, when they hear massage envy, they think, oh, that's step one out of school.
Mhm.
Um, you have to start somewhere like massage envy, hand and stone, massage green to be able to move on to something else. And um, I don't necessarily agree with that. Depends on you personally as a therapist and what you want to do as a massage therapist.
Mhm.
But being able to work there as front desk and then eventually move to the massage side was so helpful because I realized, yes, while the front desk might just be sitting there, they have a very long to-do list of things. They're not doing nothing.
Right.
And then as a therapist, that helped me understand why, front desk did certain things like, hey, give them a break. They're busy, promise.
Works so
But
good.
yes. So I worked front desk for a year to massage envy, and then I went to massage school. I went to my local community college. They have a great 6-month program. It was definitely drinking from a fire hose, but I appreciate that shorter time frame now, rather than dragging it out for a whole year.
Mm.
Um, Once I was done with that, I decided to go work at a day spa because I had already been in the franchised spa environment on the massage envy side. And so I actually did work for a franchise day spa, a very popular brand. And that's unfortunately where I experienced a little bit less healthy of a work environment,
Yeah.
which I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Knowing what customers pay to go there, and my interview walking through, I thought this was just going to be a dream job. And while the first 3 months that I worked there were great because we had an excellent manager, it went downhill after that.
Okay, so I want to pause there for a second because I feel like for our viewers, and I love that you're on here. You're such a good candidate for this topic. And it's funny because I actually came across Alex through Instagram. Okay, I'm just gonna like sidetrack here for a second. She posted, no, it wasn't her that posted. It was a third party that had posted something that she had made, and it was a quick video. And I fell in love with the product, and you can totally check it out on her Instagram page. By the way, I encourage you to follow her. And I was just like, this is so cute. What is this? Who is this? So I just messaged her and I was like, hey, and we just kind of connected, and she had such a great, I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it was just a pleasure to speak with her. And we had like a flurry of voice messages until I was like, okay, I have to get to know Alex. I have to get to know her. And then, you know, it turned into her being a guest on the channel. But yeah, I want to pause for a second and help massage therapists, or really anybody, you know, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a nurse, or any type of, you know, hands-on service provider in the healthcare industry. When you went into the franchise and you were managed and directed by that owner, how did that come about? Did you seek out someone that had been recommended to you? Can you talk about the healthy work environment, what made it a healthy work environment for you, and just like different characteristics of the owner or the manager?
So our manager at that time was actually a massage therapist herself. And that really helped because even though she wasn't currently practicing, she had practiced and it was recent. And she understood the current culture and the current expectations of management for a massage therapist. And she realized where it was realistic and where it wasn't.
Okay.
A lot of front desk, if they don't have personal experience, don't realize that you can't book a massage therapist 3 deep tissue massages in a row. There was one instance where I asked for a 30-minute break in my 5-hour shift. I do that because all of my joints are hypermobile. And so I wanted to be more careful.
Oh my God. Can you show us? I mean,
I don't do it anymore. My fingers are double jointed for these 3, and it's different on my other hand. But they'll literally get stuck here. And the only way that I can get them out is to shake out my hand.
Wow.
So
interesting.
Obviously, for the rest of my body, it looks a little bit different, having my hips being that way and my shoulders. But to me, that means that starting out my career, I wanted to be more careful and cautious to make sure that I do this for 25 years. And most franchise owners were like, whoa, you want 30 minutes of a break in a 5 or 6 hour shift?
No,
you don't need a break.
What?
Thankfully, at that point in time, our manager was understanding, and she didn't have any problems with me having that 30-minute break in my 5 or 6 hour shift. Now, front desk, I had told them if you need to move it by, 30 minutes up or down to accommodate a client wanting maybe an 80-minute session over an hour, you can totally do that. I came in one morning and I had a 1-hour massage, my 30-minute break, and then the rest of my massage schedule was full of deep tissue.
Oh, wow.
And I had to go up there and remind them, hey, I'm doing this to protect my body. I don't want to do more than 3 hours of a massage at a time. That perfectly splits my 6-hour shift. You guys have got to rearrange this. And most managers will be like, oh, sorry, just do it for the day. We'll tell them moving forward. This manager rearranged my schedule for that day, made the front desk go back and see, okay, who has requested Alex? Who hasn't? Who can we move around on the schedule? Did they ask for a female? Did they not have a therapist preference? And going more into the details of why my schedule was that way really helped the front desk realize. And she explained it to him, hey, have any of you ever massaged? Do any of you work out on a regular basis? Okay, think of a Swedish session as a very light workout for 50, 55 minutes.
Yeah.
A deep tissue session, think of a little bit harder of a workout. Would you like to work out for 5 hours in a row? No. And so explaining to the front desk why my request was the way that it was really helped them think in our frame of mind. And me having already been a front desk, understood, hey, maybe they didn't ask enough questions to understand why things were the way they were. So communication definitely is key. And looking at things not in a way of, I can't believe you did this, but they don't understand why I have this request, or they don't understand how physical the job is. So to them, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And so just going in with an open mind of wanting to help, rather than I'm going to go talk to the manager and get this person in trouble because they're not doing things the way I think they should.
Yeah.
You need to think of it as a team.
Yeah, I really like the way, because, right now, the filming of this, it's 2022, and there's just a lot of, there's a lot of anger, right, in work culture. And let me explain a little bit. There's a lot of people that are just feel like it's like us against them. It's if you choose to work at a place, which there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. You're not
nothing wrong.
Less of a massage therapist. Like, you can be an outstanding clinician, and you just don't want to deal with the licensing permits and the laundry list of like long things to do. So, but I think what's really, really important, like if you're listening to this, like Alex is such a great example that you go into it just helping your coworkers or helping your manager shift perspective. There's a couple of key points which I noticed that your manager was really good at. And then we're going to talk about the unhealthy workplace environment and like the stark differences. But I love the way that you went into it, not battling it out, not being like, oh, I'm worth more, or I am quitting. There's a huge like quitting culture right now. And even though that seems sexy and romantic and daring, it's not always the right approach. So it's always best to not burn bridges. If you're not happy at a work environment, and I think I want Alex to like touch a little bit more about maybe other like really good positives where she saw from a supervisor role. But if you're not happy, you have a choice. There doesn't need to be any bitterness or resentment. It's all about healthy communication, saying this is what my body can handle. Now, if you see that those boundaries are consistently being overstepped despite you communicating, then I feel like you can take, a decision. You can make a decision. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something where you want to have good communication, but you also want to recognize what's healthy and what's not healthy for you. Yeah. And you need to just have a conversation. However, I've also been in the shoes, as you know, where the management wasn't open to that. So very long story short, we had that wonderful manager for 3 months. And for some reason, the owners at the time let her go, and they took turns managing it. And after we came back from COVID, they promoted from within, which I'm usually all for. If you are qualified, please promote from within. Everyone already knows that person. They usually have a pretty good working relationship if you're going to promote that person to manager. However, this person was not qualified, did not have management experience, and quite honestly didn't have the we mentality, had the me mentality. And
can you elaborate on that?
Yes. When you're in any type of management, whether you're a supervisor, an assistant manager, or a manager, you have to have that we team management, where when you're thinking, you're not like, how does this benefit me? Can I get someone else to do this for me to take this off my plate? It's who's best qualified. you know what, I might not be the best person to do this, but there's a supervisor that's really good at stock and inventory. Let me check with them before I place an order. Hey, what's more popular? Do we have a lot of this item because we don't display it well? Do we not sell a lot of this because our therapists don't use it in session, and so they don't know how to talk about it, or they've never used it themselves, so they don't know if it's good or bad, so they're not going to recommend it to a client. Or they've never experienced this service. We're asking them to promote this service to their clients and they've never experienced it. So how can they recommend it when they don't know what it's like?
Is this the therapist that has never experienced the service or the management?
Both.
Okay.
In my opinion, it is very important for not only your massage therapist to experience different services, but also your front desk. Because when someone calls your front desk and says, I'd like to relax, what's something very relaxing to book? You have obviously the option of a Swedish massage, but if you work at a day spa, maybe you have a full body scrub, or you have a bath soak service, or if you work somewhere that has a Vichy shower, you can suggest the Vichy shower.
Yeah.
How do you describe what a Vichy shower is like when you've only seen it, you've never experienced it?
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
I had that experience when I worked. So for those of you that don't know, I worked in luxury hospitality for about 5 years, and I was exposed to just some really beautiful properties. And it was something that, we had access to. It was a lot of people working there, but managers, actually even the spa attendants would get services, kind of had to, maneuver it, make sure it wasn't taking away from, serving the guests. But yeah, they would serve everyone and we would experience it. And it was the first time I experienced a full body scrub. And
yes.
I love with scrubs. And I had really bad scrubs. And then I had a great scrub and I was like, oh, I get it. So I totally agree with you.
Yes, absolutely. And that kind of comes in with working as a team. When everyone is on the same page, things just run so much smoother. And when everyone has the same goal, I don't know if you can see it on my t-shirt, but I have a motto of we rise by lifting others. And when we have that teamwork mentality and we have the mentality of treating others how we would want to be treated, things just run so smooth. That definitely is something that I have tried to keep at the forefront, owning my own business, is how would I want to be treated if I was in this customer's shoes? Same thing for management. You, of course, have rules and you have a handbook. And when you're franchised, you have some rules that's a corporate rule. This isn't a rule that we have the flexibility as a location, and being able to communicate that to your employees is very important versus the rules that it's like, hey, this is something that corporate gives us the flexibility to be able to choose. And this is why we've made this choice. Is something I feel it's important to communicate. Yeah, just communication.
It is really important, and it's a skill that many, unfortunately, even I've had to develop like within the past, I don't know, well, definitely since I became a business owner, but
yes.
Just because you speak well, just because you speak, it doesn't mean you know how to communicate well. And that is another skill. I think that Alex would join me in saying, if you don't know how to communicate customer service, right?
We'll teach you that. Yes.
Great skill to have, doesn't mean you know how to communicate effectively. Learn how to communicate effectively. Learn, again, whether you're a business owner or whether you work for someone, learn how to communicate effectively with conflict resolution. You're going to have conflict because we're all human and we're all going to mess up and we're all going to hurt each other and we're all going to make mistakes. How do you approach that? You're going to have clients that screw you over and show up late. And how are you communicating without anger, without bitterness? How are you communicating to resolve and repair that relationship? Alex, let's transition over to the toxic work environment. Tell us the story of that.
So, like I said, first 3 months were pretty good. I did leave out. So I had one coworker there that from day one, we just could not get along. I do my best to get along with everyone. However, being a business owner's daughter and coming from that perspective, a lot of people that rubs off as like a goody two shoes vibe. And so a lot of people are like, oh, you're doing this just because you're trying to get good with the managers, you're brand new. I was the only employee there with less than 3 years experience.
Okay.
I fresh out of school. And there were a lot of therapists there that believed I did not have enough experience to be working there. And this was one of those people. And unfortunately, I think she felt as if I was going for some of the awards that she regularly earned. Top in sales, most upgrades for services, things like that. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know that was a thing. Mm-hmm. And so month one, I was top in sales, both for retail and upgrades. Didn't even know it was a thing. Apparently it was her thing. And so she took that personal. And so despite my best efforts of trying to be friendly and remembering the phrase my mother taught me as a child of just let it roll. When someone says something to you that's maybe rude or not appropriate for the moment, condescending, just let it roll, because you don't know what else has happened in their day. That this isn't necessarily them being mad at you. This may be them mad at someone else before you, but it's just rolling down to you. And so I did my best, good morning, how are you? Do you need help with that? Let me grab that door for you. And it just never was reciprocated very well. Mm-hmm. And she was actually best friends with the lady that was promoted to be her manager. Mm-hmm. And once that happened, there was no longer any accountability for those things. And it got to the point that it was less words and more physical, not in a crazy way, but more of, oh, you're walking behind me. I'm going to close this door on you. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be inconvenient. You're going to drop everything in your hands. You're going to get a little bruise on your nose from the door slapping me in the face. And it was at that point that I was like, you know what? I'm a very nice person. A lot of us as massage therapists, we can be too nice and not have that confrontation part of we need to put our foot down. This is not okay. And I definitely got to the moment where I was like, you know what? This is not okay. For me to dread coming to work and have certain coworkers who won't work with me, co-work, this is not a healthy environment for me to be in. Is the environment going to change, or do I need to change my environment? Mm-hmm. And obviously I came to the point of changing my environment and creating my own environment as a business owner. And
Alex, I'm sorry to interrupt you. May I ask, how long were you in that unhealthy work environment?
About 6 to 8 months for the unhealthy portion of that.
Okay.
And I knew I needed to leave. And I felt that nudge multiple times, but I was scared. Mm-hmm. We were still in the midst of a pandemic. Mm-hmm. Massage therapy wasn't a career field that there were a ton of people hiring for. And so I was unsure of what leaving would mean, but I got to the point where I was like, I can't stay. I am dreading going to work to do a career that I love. I genuinely love. Yeah. And it got to the point where I was feeling so anxious going to work. I didn't want to work because I knew I was going to have to deal with this person. And I knew despite my best efforts, I had done everything on my end. And that's all you can do. You can't change someone else. You can only change how you interact with them. And I had done more than my fair share. So it's definitely something where you need to recognize and you need to reflect, is there something that I could be doing better? I have had instances with an unhealthy work environment where part of it was my fault. Working front desk, there was another front desk agent and we were both pretty headstrong and, this is the way things need to be done. And we did actually sit down and have a conversation and say, hey, we don't work well together. We don't like each other, but we have to work together. So we need to sit down and figure out why we're upset with each other so we can figure out what it is or the things that they are and talk about it. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And so it's very important to recognize, is it just you? Is it just them? Or have you both made opinions of each other that you haven't verbalized and you have that going on in your mind and that's why you don't like that person?
Right.
Uh,
I wanna touch on really quick. Some workplaces encourage healthy converse. Like some workplaces allow people with issues, coworkers, to come together and have that conversation. Some managers and supervisors and owners freak out at the idea of coworkers having that conversation. In your experience, which one have you seen it that has been most beneficial and why?
I've actually experienced both. Uh, so I worked front desk at a hotel, and one of the confrontations we had there, same situation. I was just doing the best with what I had. We didn't get along very well, and I had done my best to, extend the olive branch and try to get along, and it just never worked. And I finally came up to the managers and like, hey, what am I doing wrong? I know y'all know we don't get along. I know y'all have observed it. I'm sure there are customers that are like, did you watch those two front desk agents? Like, ooh, catty.
Yeah.
And they actually sat us down. We had 3 managers. And they grabbed us one day and sat us down in the office. And they're like, we're having a group conversation. What's going on? It is obvious you two don't get along. It is obvious that things are done in spite of each other. And we're here to work as a team. And if we don't communicate well and we don't work well together, the team doesn't work. And we're ending up making things harder on yourselves than they need to be. And so we sat down in that office and we hashed it out. And it ended up being that my coming from a business owner's perspective and going the extra mile intimidated her into thinking that I was trying to take her job from her. And I was like, no, I have no intentions to come after your job. I'm so sorry you feel that way. I am just trying to be a good steward with every single thing I'm given, even when that comes to the silly things like pens and key cards. When I worked front desk at the massage and me, there was me and that other front desk girl, same thing, just did not get along. And I was actually encouraged by the manager. She said, hey, you guys need to hash this out, but I don't want to be any part of it. So she encouraged me to reach out to her, since I was the older of the two of us, to have coffee with her outside of work and sit down and have the conversation, just the two of us outside of work. And she actually was receptive to that. I was very shocked. I was like, this is not going to work. No, she's not going to want to meet me outside of for coffee. Are you serious? We don't even talk to each other at work.
Right.
But it did. And it just turned out we just were from such different backgrounds that it took being incredibly intentional and understanding that when she says something that I take as being aggressive, that is normal for her background and her family. It's not aggressive. That's the normal level of conversation. And for me, it was an aggressive level of conversation that I took personally when she didn't mean it personally. And so sometimes, yes, you have to hash things out in the workplace. Sometimes you don't. You need to go have coffee and you need to sit down and eat a cinnamon roll and say, hey, we don't get along and I don't want it to be that way. I don't want us to have this tension and this anger between each other when we work at the same place and we both love where we work and we're both good at our jobs.
Yeah.
So let's figure out how to get along. We don't have to like each other. We just need to learn how to get along.
Yeah, that is very, very fair. And I really appreciate you, taking the time to kind of break down how that happened, because again, this doesn't have to be solely for massage therapists, but, because both are. And I know that many massage therapists stereotypically tend to be introverts. We're not labeling anybody. However, that seems to be a majority of the personality that gravitates. However, you can still be an introvert. There is hope. You can still be an introvert.
Do this, yes.
And communicate your needs. You can still be an introvert. And the way I see it is, I'm always for one-to-one. So I would always feel more comfortable approaching my coworker and having a situation like that. However, if your workspace doesn't permit, or if your manager or supervisor feels more comfortable saying, please come to me first, so we can come up with a solution, because you don't know, maybe they tried that in the past and two people went head to head and ended up having a physical fight. Who knows?
Yeah.
Not everyone is able to be as level-headed as Alex. She approached it from a very a really wonderful standpoint. I want to go back to that unhealthy, toxic work environment. So I see you going down the hall. I see this therapist who is in front of you, and now at this point, intentionally, making sure the door is closed behind you, making sure that you bump into things, very passive aggressive maneuvers and tactics. Anything else that you want to share? Anything else that kind of led you to the point to say, you know what, this isn't healthy anymore?
Yes. So at that point in time, we have had two owners, and they kind of only wanted to be affiliated with the business and the fun parts. At least that's how it came off to us as employees. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But when they had that manager with no accountability, I did approach her and say, hey, so-and-so and I aren't getting along very well. I don't like that. I don't think you like that. It doesn't serve any of us well. And she had asked me to, just talk to her about it, just grab her one day. And so I did.
Mm-hmm.
There was a day where we both had a little bit of a break between clients, and I asked to talk to her real quick. So we went into her massage room, and I said, hey, do you have a problem with me? And I had asked her to do that right after I had walked in the door, was clocking in after my lunch, and said, oh, hey, how are you? Zero response. Someone walked in right behind me. She's like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I literally just walked through and tried to start the same conversation.
Right.
And you completely acted like I didn't exist. And that happened so many times, where we would be clocking in for the same shift and just didn't even acknowledge I existed. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you know what? Perfect example. This just happened. Can I talk to you for a minute? And she denied it. She's like, I don't have a problem with you. No. Nice. No. Yeah. And it was at that point in time that I was like, okay, if we aren't willing to acknowledge the obvious, mm-hmm. this is not going to get any better. Mm-hmm. And I think to her, same thing, a very strong personality. She's a bit older than I am. So I think there was some of that. I know more than you, you're just a kid. And I definitely don't like that mentality. Just because you're young doesn't mean you don't have as much to share. Just because you're older doesn't mean you have more to share.
Not only, Alex, respect. You're a grown woman.
I am.
Even kids deserve respect. Animals deserve, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You have experience, okay, that's fine. But just a very basic need of someone mm-hmm. approaching you and saying, hey, there's tension between us. Can we talk about it? And then just dismissing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was after that I realized, you know what, this is not getting any better. And this person has been here since the business opened. Mm-hmm. She's not going anywhere. And so either I deal with this for the rest of my career here, or I change where I have my career. So there's definitely a point in time that you need to do that self-reflection and decide, okay, you don't want to have mentality of, oh, well, I'll just get this person to leave and it'll be fine. It's not the approach that you need to take. But you also need to be understanding that typically in these situations, there's more things going on in their life than you realize. Mm-hmm. And while you need to be understanding, you don't need to let yourself get run over as well.
Yeah.
And if you have already extended the olive branch multiple times and it hasn't been accepted or received, and you've gone about doing that multiple ways, whether it's just you and that person, or you and management, or you management and that person, then it's time to change your environment. And while that can seem scary, you have to do what's best for yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is the scariest option.
Yeah. What would you say to business owners that are new in management, or business owners that want to bring on a team or a staff? Like, what are, I don't know, name like the top 3 things that you would say, please, please do this with your staff or your team.
Yes, please create an opportunity to put each area in the shoes of someone else.
Mm.
Let front desk shadow a massage therapist or an esthetician. Let an esthetician shadow the front desk. Let the nail tech shadow the esthetician. When you understand what each other does on a regular basis, you start to understand some of the things that maybe you get frustrated with each other about. And you're like, oh, they have no control over that. That's just how their job is. That's a me problem. Putting yourself in the shoes of your employees, getting in there and doing the dirty work sometimes, helping with the laundry, not just saying, oh, hey, can you go help so-and-so with the laundry?
Mm-hmm.
I think the best management style that I've ever seen is the managers that do what they ask their employees to do, whether that's going and cleaning the bathroom because housekeeping is busy and housekeeping doesn't have time, or if you don't have housekeeping front desk, helping file paperwork. And your downtime as an employee, going and observing that, and as a employer, helping create and cultivate that team mentality. We're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? As a massage therapist, you can't do your job without front desk. They book your appointments.
Yeah.
And when you have a few extra minutes, hey, is there anything I can do to help you guys? Do you guys need help filing paperwork? Somebody have a shoulder ache that they need rubbed for a few minutes while I have some downtime? That goes so far. The treating others how you want to be treated, the caring for others, the looking for, hey, how can I help you? What can I do? Creates that teamwork mentality, not only between the manager and the employees, but the employee and the manager.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I know I'm off this day, but I don't have anything going on. Do you guys want me to come in? Do you need help? I see you're busy.
Yeah.
I think that goes a very long way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, you know, one thing that I would say to, if you want to expand and if you want to build a team, one of the best things I feel like that I've experienced is observing, just like Alex said, how helpful people are. For example, if I am with you and my hands are full and I'm approaching the door and I'm struggling with bags and laundry and whatever, and you're not offering to help, that's not going to say you're a terrible person, but that indication to help, oh, here, let me get that, or let me get the door for you. I'm just letting you know, if you're looking to hire, you're looking to even partner, even a business partnership, pay attention to how people respond to specifically in situations where they can help and they either pull back and don't offer any help, or they jump in. People that jump in and offer to help is just a great sign that they are very collaborative in nature and to like they'll stick with you, and it's a breath of fresh air. All the other tiny little things, you know, the policies, the handbook, all that can be like, you know, all those loose ends can be trained upon and stuff like that. But you know, please don't feel discouraged if you are a solo practitioner and you think to yourself, I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one that can deliver amazing customer service. I'm the only one who knows how to fold the sheets the right way. I'm the only one. If your desire, you don't have to do this. If your desire is to build a team, look for those qualities. I would say What do you think, Alex?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
Just look for someone who is not only concerned about how they can help themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your time here. I really hope that this serves massage therapists or really anyone that's kind of wondering, about this specific topic like work culture, because it is just it's just on top of everyone's mind right now. Should I work for someone else? The fear behind that, or should I go on my own, or I'm hurt, I'm wounded. You can have legitimate wounds, but that doesn't mean that every culture is going to be the same, even the one that you create for yourself. So,
Yes.
Alex, how can people find you and support you? And yeah.
So all social media handles is Sacred Oasis Massage. Same thing for my website, sacredoasismassage.com. I absolutely love sharing others, whether it's just a massage therapist at a franchise location, if you want to own your own business. I'm also a massage therapy instructor and continuing education provider.
Yes.
So I love sharing all things about that. So there's a lot to see on my Instagram and Facebook and website. If you are a practitioner yourself or a massage therapist looking to take classes, please make sure to follow me. I have a lot of fun stuff coming.
Yeah. Can you share with us briefly on your classes and what you offer?
So I'll be offering hands-on classes here in the Fort Worth, Texas area. I would love to have some online classes in the future. I just don't know how long it takes to get all those hoops jumped through. But doing classes on prenatal, lymphatic drainage, a business basics class since I opened my own business and I don't see a lot of classes teaching you how to do that after school, as well as trauma sensitivities. I specialize in working with folks with PTSD as well as other trauma sensitivities. And I feel there's a really big need for that in our community. So that's really my main heart and passion behind getting my MTI and CEP, was teaching others how to accommodate their clients with that.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, if you're a massage therapist and you are interested in reaching out to Alex, if any of these topics or specialties appeal to you, if you're in the Fort Worth area or you're willing to travel to go see
Yes.
Alex, please reach out to her. People can DM you on Instagram, but I know she has the website as well. And if Instagram ever goes belly up, you can contact her through the website. And do you have the email on there? The email
I
address?
do. Yes. My email is on the website, but it's simply alexandria@sacredoasismassage.com.
Excellent. Alex, thank you so much. It has been a sincere pleasure. I wish
Thank
you
you for
the best.
having me.
I look forward to seeing how your business flourishes as the years come. And yeah, we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Oh, we will.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great day and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.